In this video today, we are going to look at some of the best meta decks in Riftbound right now. Obviously, recording this in the middle of set 2 Spirit Forge. Very exciting, lots of really cool looking legends and potential decks in set 3 Unleashed. I am going to be covering those over the next couple of weeks as more card gets released. I'll start testing some out on TCG Arena, but we're still in the middle of set 2. All the skirmishes, local next nights are using these decks, and obviously regional qualifiers. I've competed at a lot of my local events. I've won a few, done quite well at recent skirmishes, getting top 4 regularly, and watched a lot of the regional qualifiers and played a lot of TCG. So I feel like I've got a pretty good grasp of what's very good right now. So in this video, we're going to look at the best decks. Quick analysis. I'm not going to go crazy in depth because we've got quite a few in here, and give my opinion about the best decks. So I've done 7. Top 5 is pretty much what I think is the top 5. And there's 2 honorable mentions. We're putting Viktor in as an honorable mention. We're looking at Ghost of Driver's deck from Bologna. Got top 4. Very good deck. There's a mix in here of aggro and control. There's obviously 22 spells. So there's a lot of control in there. Spell decks are very, very good on this game. The Viktor leader units in there to just give you more pressure. Honest Broker gets you gold. Plundering Power gets you gold. You get a guaranteed turn 1 anyway with Viktor, with the legend being able to play a recruit. Thousand Tails your finisher. Glass Mixologist, pretty nice to be able to play as Zawin. And then just a crazy amount of pressure. And Yellow's obviously got some really annoying spells like Cool the Weak. Hidden Blade's very good. You'll quite often play Hidden Blade on yourself on a recruit just to get a bit of extra draw power. Time Warp, great finisher. Raven Bloom's in there as like the going second. You can defend. A lot of people don't go there, but if you can go, that's like an extra draw basically. Treasure Hoard, very good to stop your D-ramping on a game where you go first. And then Void Gate is just a good general one because you have lots of spells. And then some decent sideboard stuff in, but it's one of the cheapest decks in this format. My best friend, who won Skirmish last week, played Draven, went and used something pretty similar to this list today and lost in the final of the Skirmish. So very good deck, very cheap. Good mix of aggro control. You can play Viktor more control or more aggro. This one's a pretty good hybrid from Ghost Driver, and obviously did really well. This is probably one of the easier ones I'd say to pick up as well. Coming at number 6, we've got Misfortune Aurora. Now, Aurora, I hate the playstyle. I main Draven this set, and don't get me wrong. I think Draven, the legend alone, should be errated. I think that it should be a tap to draw 1. I'm not trying to make out that Aurora's more busted than Draven or anything like that. However, it's, in my opinion, it's one of the most brain dead decks in the game. Very simple to play. Not a lot of counterplay that you can do as the opponent unless you just happen to have the right gear in. And it's just boring in my opinion. Like, the playstyle's quite toxic. I really don't enjoy playing it. However, it's a very good, effective one. I'm thinking in set 3 with the Elder Dragon could become quite a bit better. Elder Dragon, Vilemore with Yi could be really good. Elder Dragon and Misfortune gets ganking. So very good deck. Very hard to play against. It's obviously a longer one. It does struggle against aggro decks that get going quick. Mid range can quite often be, but it's very good against control. So if they get going and get the right pulls, it's near impossible to beat this deck. 5 just massive units. Mind Split is really good because it just gets opponents discard. They have Sabotage. They obviously have things like Stack Deck and all. Call Shot just ramp and get the Aurora out quicker. Invert Timelines is more for the miracle decks, I'd say. And then battlefields are all built around trying to slow the game down and allow you time to get Aurora online. Sideboard's just there to deal with stuff. But yeah, if you like a good ramp deck that gets some crazy units out, trying to be annoying and store your opponent, MF Aurora, and Aurora in general is good. Coming at number 5, we've got Kaiser. Now, Kaiser, in my opinion, is the best answer to Draven right now. And that's one of the things that makes it so good. I played the Kaiser today. I've got top 4 at my last 3 skirmishes. And the one matchup I really don't like playing Kaiser, I lost to a Kaiser today in the semis who beat me in the final. I beat this Kaiser in the Swiss, but very good player to be fair, my opponent. And it's just a nightmare matchup. So her being so good against Draven really elevates her, in my opinion. She does struggle a bit into Aurelia. It's not unbeatable, but she can struggle against Aurelia. She's got a really good chosen champ. She's got quite a lot of good units. She can play more unit heavy Kaiser decks, or you can play more control ones with just loads of spells. Her legend's amazing. She's obviously got a load of spells. Kaiser, if you enjoy spell sling and damage, is the deck to play in my opinion. Battlefields, that's a good go. Second one. Arena's great as Brave. You'd obviously play it if you're going first. I don't think she's the most aggro deck really, so I'm a bit surprised to see an Arena. But she's obviously good at it. And Void Gate is generally your opener that you can just assume you can play game one. And then these, obvious why they're in. So yeah, very good deck. I've tried it. I did a video about it. It's very good counter to what is probably considered the best deck in the set right now in Draven. Very frustrating to play against if you're a deck that's not good against Kaiser. You just don't really get to play Riftbound. But yeah, still very powerful. Coming at number 4, we've got Aurelia. Honestly, the top 4, you could interchange any of them. It's very close. And a lot depends on the matchups and the players. Aurelia, though, very, very good. Her legend's one of the most powerful, allows lots of mobility. Aurelia Fervent can get buffed like crazy. She's probably the best chosen champ, best champ in the game right now. I think Jin could rival that the Murderous Arts one. Not many units, but enough that if this one dies, it's not completely game over. A few gear, but all gear to protect her and allow her to get ganking. She's a lot scarier once she gets boots of swiftness. And then spells to protect and buff. So she's got 1, 2, 3, only 3 to be fair, but that's 9 pump spells. That generally is enough for her. She's got Charm, which is a good way to get kill units. Vital Flight, good to protect. Not so fast, good. Ride the Winterfare's good one on her. And then a few more just to deal with certain matchups, I would argue. But yeah, Aurelia, very, very annoying to play against. Very good champ in general. And I think not the hardest, but one of the harder ones. And when you play against a good Aurelia, it can be a nightmare. She can get over crazy swings. If you like this, like Protect the Princess, pumped crazy stuff, Aurelia is really good. Number 3, Ezreal. There is an argument that Ezreal could be the number 1 deck. I do think, though, he's got a crazy high skill ceiling. Very hard to play. That's why we're not seeing loads of Ezreal pop off really high. But then we do have someone like Alan, who's just obviously a genius of card games, doing well. He's got best of Ezreal 2 events in a row. Ezreal's legend, pretty solid. Ezreal's all about lots of spells, ramping up. And then once he gets to the end game, being pretty impressive. Vex, really good, obviously. There's a few ways you can play this Ezreal legend. The Raven Bloom tends to be pretty good. She plays a lot of spells. Multiple Ezreal prodigies. 1,000 Tell. I'm surprised not to see more, potentially. But with this deck, you do tend to go through the whole, deck, because you've got lots of draw. And then crazy about spells. Morbid Return's pretty good to protect stuff. Pickpockets, sideboard that in when you're against other sealed decks. Downwell, very good. Dr. Mundo's pretty good finish if you're going to need him. But this deck just has loads of answers. There's so many one-offs that it should have an answer at most points of the game for different stuff. Very hard to pilot. Ezreal does have a really cool signature as well. My view on it tends to be that this deck, when I match it generally, I find it quite easy to play against. But the higher up you go, the better the people using it, the harder it tends to be, because this deck just has so many good stuff going for it. If you want a deck where you have loads of options, you've got crazy draw, and a really good end game, Ezreal is for you. Draven, we've got top 2 is going to be 2 Dravens. I'm putting the mid-range Draven that did win Las Vegas as second. But again, the top 4, you could interchange a lot of them. I ran this And I've run this and won a few Nexus nights, and I won an event where I won a box for it using a pretty similar deck list. I've used Sam D. Sherman's and the Challenge TCG one. I do like the Ferris Forerunner getting free. It's a big unit. There's a lot of matchups it's really good in. Aurelia, Kaiser. Other control decks, just the value getting 12. The problem is, if it gets rebuked, you're in big trouble. The rebuke really just blow that out. But yeah, mid-range Draven doesn't really have any issues. It rarely bricks. It's got a good mix of spells. It's got mobility. It's got really good units. Sideboard gives you good options into a lot of stuff. And the battlefields kind of pick themselves. Very good deck, obviously. It's up there in the debate for the best deck in Riftbound right now. I find it really tough when I play against other mid-range Dravens if they know what they're doing, even though I do know the matchup. But right now, this colour combo with Draven, who's got crazy draw power, really good gear with the spin axe, it's very, very hard to play against. Again, has a lot of options, a bit easier to play than Ezreal, I'd say. But right now, definitely up there for one of the best decks in the game. And then number 1, we've got Miracle. We could go for the Detonate list. I'm going to put Miracle / Detonate in the same category. One of the issues you do have with Miracle, especially at less serious events, is the time. It's not just about the time it takes you to play, in my opinion. It's the time your opponent takes, because they have to think about more stuff. They might question more stuff you're doing. So I found quite often, I would like to think I'm pretty quick at the game now. I try not completely rush so I don't make silly mistakes, but I feel like I've played the game quite a lot now and have a pretty good grasp of how things work. I practiced quite a bit on TCG, and then I played a few events in person with Detonate and did quite well. Didn't win anything, but was able to play pretty quick. The deck here, one of the reasons I think it's better than mid-ranges, it has less games where it bricks. Just pouring my drink. Has less games where it bricks, and it's very, very consistent. The Detonate one in particular, and it has these crazy pop-off turns that when things go well, you basically just lose to this deck. That's how good it can be. I do think certain things could get banned. Brunei was one, but Cold Shot's definitely up there for the most likely to get banned. In this matchup with Seals, Ezreal, and a Cold Shot, you can just... I've had quite a few games where I've literally gone through my whole deck, which is crazy. I don't think that should really be happening. I'm surprised in set 2 they've let things get that crazy with some stuff. But yeah, brilliant card, very easy in terms of what the concept is, but the decision making and sequencing can become quite tough. I prefer mid-range. But I've obviously put this as the number 1 deck. I put mid-range behind it. I think mid-range is a lot easier to play to a good level and just less convoluted. Never really gonna have an issue with time compared to this one. So yeah, we've talked through a lot of decks there, a lot of really good options. Are they the only decks that are viable to play in Riftbound? No, Fiora's okay. Jax is pretty good. Lux Control could be decent. There's multiple decks that, if you play well with them, have a pretty good chance. However, these are just tending to be the more consistent ones that are tending to get higher performances at events. As always, I appreciate you all tuning in. Hopefully this video helped you out. Please do consider subscribing. It helps the channel to grow. See you on the next one. Peace.